Final Four. We weren't sure. We were pretty impressed with UCLA, what they've done to this point, but we kind of felt, this is probably going to be the end of it. They gave Gonzaga everything they can possibly handle, and Gonzaga barely had enough to beat the Bruins.
So we talked last week with UCLA's game in the Elite Eight against Michigan, scoring 51 points, and we said, man, I'd sign up for that any day if the offense showed up. Well, UCLA had a little more tricks in the bag.
They turned it right around, right? Let's put an extra 30 on the board.
Oh, man, what a great game. And that kind of saved the day. That saved the night after the first game dud.
Yeah, it was impressive because they showed that they have the capability of winning in different ways. You know, every team has their strengths and their weaknesses, and it's like there's a way that they would prefer the game to go. And if it doesn't go that way, it's like, I don't know. You know, I think Gonzaga is a perfect example. They kind of want a high-scoring game. They don't necessarily want like a tight defense, physical, harsh game. Which showed itself in the championship game. They want a scoring game, and they usually do well. And what was amazing about that UCLA game is that UCLA was actually able to hang with them in that style of game, a game that gets into the 80s. Pretty impressive.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. And they have some guys whose stock has risen like at a meteoric rate. Pretty unbelievable, right?
Sure. And, you know, we were saying the other day, privately, that UCLA being a Cinderella team and Gonzaga
right?
being a 1 seed, and your two teams out of Texas are not Texas, not A&M, not Tech. It's Baylor and Houston. And just a wacky year comes to an end. I'm glad they got the tournament in. We needed it as sports fans and college basketball fans. That was
it's funny you mentioned
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. You know, the Super Bowl is a big deal. Obviously, it's the biggest deal of the year, but we didn't miss the Super Bowl last year. So this year's Super Bowl, you know, it came as a vaccine had already come out and people are at least starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We missed.
Came as scheduled. Yeah.
Yeah, it was part of our normalcy. We missed March Madness last year. And it's such a part of American sports, you know, lore. It's such a big deal. It brings out people who, you know, don't necessarily watch college basketball all year. They watch March Madness. Like, the ratings are unbelievable. We know that non-college basketball folks are watching. The brackets, everyone's filling out their brackets. They don't even know what the hell they're doing. They're filling out brackets.
Did you win your pool?
Hello, I actually did. So I've been filling out brackets for like 35 years. Like, no bullshit. I've probably been filling out 35 years. This is the first time. First time I've ever won. First time I ever won.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Would you win a box of Cheez-Its?
You know what? I didn't even open up the envelope, so I'm not exactly sure how much it was. I don't care. I actually am I'm stunned that I won, because I'm not kidding.
Right,
35 years of doing this, I've never won it once. I've been in the top 3, but I've never won it once. But you see what I mean? Like, you know, I was up against somebody's wife. Like, she doesn't know. She's not a college basketball aficionado. And it was her and I down to like the last 3 people. So
she's a Bulldog fan. That's why she picked Gonzaga.
Well, she picked Baylor, but she didn't have Gonzaga in the finals, and that's how I ended up beating her. The other guy had Gonzaga winning, and I beat him because Baylor won. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. It's the brackets that brings out the people that don't normally do it. And I don't know. It was because we missed it last year. Really, if you think about it, the NBA found a way to play and get their championship. MLB found a way to play. Hockey found a way to play. Like, everybody found a way to play. It was college basketball of the things that matter in sports. Like, it was college basketball and March Madness, which we lost. There was no figuring out a way to do it. So this March Madness kind of brought that a little bit of that normalcy back to life, which was much needed. Much needed.
Yeah, the timing on March Madness was brutal because it was a week before they were going to start the tournament, so they really had no options. And as college students, you're not going to make the thing in June when the NBA started back up. Yeah. So it was good in there.
And when you have powerful people like Mike Krzyzewski and some of these others that at the time back then, a year ago, were saying we're shutting down. Before NCAA even said they were shutting down, and Krzyzewski was like, we're shutting down. You know, It changes. It changes things, and it was hard. But this was awesome, and I was glad. Baylor wins in impressive fashion. Frankly, I got to be honest with you. I was trying to think back, and I'm having a hard time of thinking of any team in recent history or in much of history that was so dominant in both Final Four games. I just can't think of it. Usually at least one of the two, and usually the championship game is pretty close for sure, but usually one of those two games is very close, a coin toss, a Gonzaga-UCLA type game. They really just dominated and unbelievably dominated Gonzaga. Like, that was...
Villanova in 18, I think, was not as dominant, but pretty good.
This was just amazing to me. This was just, it's funny. I'm watching that championship game, and Gonzaga. I turn it on. Gonzaga's already down like 17. I'm like, holy shit, is this really going down like this? And I think they cut it to 10 by the half.
They did.
I think it was a 10-point game, and you can't help but think, all right, they're gonna make a run.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, they got off to a slow start. I was watching. They were missing some easy shots that they normally make. Well, I shouldn't even say easy. Closer shots. They were contested, but they were closer shots. And I'm thinking, man, they're gonna make a run. And right out of the box in the second half, Baylor's the one who made the run. And they just never looked back, man. They just never looked back. You know?